Chris Harris Jr., and he is with us here on Tiki and Tierney. Chris, how you feeling today, bud?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Boy, been an interesting season. And I say this not in a way of disrespect at all, but I feel like here we are getting ready for Week 11, and I still don't necessarily know who the defending champions are. Is your identity fully established yet?
I think people know what it is. I think they know that we're going to play stout defense. We're still ranked pretty high on defense. We just got to get consistent in the offense on the run game, and then consistency on stopping the run. I think those are the two things that we've been really having a point of emphasis on. And once we get those two back rolling, it's going to be tough for teams to beat us.
You know, Chris, last year watching the Denver Broncos was actually a joy for an old schooler like me who believes in, like you just said, running the ball and playing defense and not letting this is a quarterback-driven league dominate the conversation. But can you do that 2 years over, 2 years in a row, as teams especially start to, find weaknesses in your young quarterback?
Yeah. It makes it definitely hard. We were playing at a historic level last year on defense, and we're looking at we're on the bye now. We're looking at our numbers, and we're just a little bit behind those. So we just step in the run game. So we figure if we can get back to stopping the run, more turnovers. Even right now, we have more turnovers than what we had last year. So right now, we're just trying to do whatever we can on defensive side to be able to get the offense more opportunities, and we feel like they're going to get better, and this is a good time for them to kind of turn on that switch and start dominating on offense.
Yeah, it's probably that time. Yeah, I mean, it's almost Thanksgiving, so I don't know what they're waiting for, man. I hear you. Chris Harris with us of the Broncos, and I'm curious how you answer this question, Chris. Obviously, and we referenced it, the passing game, the rushing attack. Basically, the offense just hasn't been very good, and the numbers back that up. 24th passing, 24th rushing. In your opinion, knowing the personnel far better than we do, I mean, we know the names, but you know how these guys, what they have skill-wise, do you think that the run needs to get going first to open up the pass, or do you think it's the opposite, that the pass has to get going to help out the run? How do you see that?
I definitely think it's the run that's going to open up the pass. I mean, Trevor being a first-year quarterback, and he's going to need that running game to be able to help him along. I mean, that's the recipe to winning any championship. You got to be able to run the ball to be able to help your quarterback, and he's going to need that. And I think that'll help make the passing game open up Emmanuel and DT even more if we can get that ground game rolling.
You know, Chris, a lot of guys get into the league, a lot of teams get in the league, and they don't get a chance to win a championship. Some go and lose, like I did. Others. They win one, and then you wonder what the follow-up season is like. Is there still that hunger that you guys had last year, simply because you've now got one under your belt?
Oh, yeah, it is, man. We're still very hungry and a motivated team. And I mean, you can see last week, I mean, that game went down to the wire. We kept believing, we kept fighting, and the young rookies come up and make one of the staple plays of the season. So this team still is going to fight. We're not going to let people take our championships so easy. So they're going to have to fight for it and take it from us.
Chris, can you explain the swing and emotions? And I was watching this live on the blocked extra point taken back for the 2, and you guys win 25-23. Wow. The emotion before that, where I'm sure on some level you're like, man, we're going to lose, to what? How the hell did we win? What was that like for you as a locker room? Must have been nuts.
Oh, man, I was sick, man. To have Drew Brees drive down the field on us, that usually doesn't happen. We usually are able to really finish every game in the fourth quarter for us, and we didn't do it. But just for those guys, our younger guys, to come in and step up and make a huge play on that field goal block, man, that was huge for us. And, I mean, we always expected to win, so I never had any doubt in my mind that we were going to lose.
You know, one of the great assets for your team is, one, your head coach, who Gary Kubiak, and kind of people have kind of forgot, maybe glossed over this. He wins the Super Bowl in his first season in Denver, but he also has Wade Phillips, who is your defensive coordinator. And Wade suffered a little bit of a scare a couple weeks ago when he got run over by Melvin Gordon. First of all, so how's he doing? Second of all, how important is he to this scheme? It seems like he has you guys playing with such confidence and emotion and at a heightened level, something you haven't seen in Denver prior to him getting there.
I think he just brings he gives us the identity on defense. He's very important to that. I think even versus the Raiders, having them in the box, I think that kind of like that affected us on defense too. Just him not being on the field, and you can see last week we played a lot better having him there. So it's just his knowledge, man. He's a genius. He gives us makes it easy for us to go out there and make plays.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Chris Harris with us here. Chris Harris Jr., one of the star defensive backs on one of the better defenses in football. That's the Broncos, defending champs, and Chris is with us here on Tiki and Tierney. So looks like you might get Aqib Talib back, I was reading after the bye, which would obviously be a good thing. Not that you guys necessarily need more defensive pieces, but he's terrific, so I'm sure you welcome him back. What I'm curious about here, Chris, you go against...
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to having him back. He just adds another impact player on our defense. Another guy can take it to the house. So then also I get way more action with Aqib, so I can't wait for him to get back for sure.
Got to pad those stats. I understand what you're saying, Chris. What
yeah.
I wanted to ask about the quarterback specifically though, and I think we all look from at least Teak and I as a national show. I look at your quarterback position as still evolving and as anything but defined. And listen, I could be wrong, but in my mind, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Paxton Lynch is in there in 2 weeks. I know you're not going to comment on that, but when you see Paxton in practice, what do you see? Does he look like somebody who's really, truly ready to play and win if he had to, or if the coaching decision deemed that it was his time?
I think Paxton, man, he's definitely improving. He's definitely continuing to learn the offense, but I still think he needs a little bit more time. I think to be able to still understand other defenses, continue to keep learning the offense. I think it takes a year to really, truly learn this offense. I mean, everything that we do. So I think give him one more, give him this year. But I think he still, I mean, you never know. He still always has to be ready, and we still feel like we can win if he has to go out and play.
Yeah, the good thing is you have two alternatives. You know, when you look at the toughest divisions in the National Football League, Chris, it's probably the AFC West is right up there because all of you guys are sitting at 7 wins. Kansas City, the Chiefs are setting the pace. It kind of feels awkward being a defending Super Bowl champions, having a great record, great start to the season, but you guys are not in first place. Motivation for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every year, man, it's a tight race since I've been in the league, and we've been able to come out on top in it. And we got 6 games left to be able to really hold our own destiny. We got the Chiefs twice and the Raiders, so we got some big games coming up, but we feel like, shoot, this is still our division.
It's Chris Harris with us here on Tiki and Tierney. So, Chris, listen, I wanted to ask you on a serious level, but we'll lighten the mood here. Obviously, Von Miller's embroiled in something here that's illegal, and he's being extorted. I mean, and it's obviously a big story here, and it's a serious story as well. The last thing you want to see is that happen to a friend, a teammate, anybody. Just tell these young bucks, man, when they get drafted, leave the phones at home. You go on a date, leave the phone in the car. Check put a sensor at the crib. Just tell these young kids enough. I mean, when do they learn the lessons? Come on, watch out for the phones.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that's going on in the world, you definitely have to be careful, especially being a professional athlete.
Yeah,
guys have to be smart and decisions what they do, and I mean, it's unfortunate that a girl tries to extort a man for $2.5 million. That's very unfortunate, but I think Von will win the case. I think everything will be all right.
It's very unfortunate. It's also very illegal. I mean, extortion is not legal, so we hear you, man. Well, listen, you guys got flexed into the night game, which is a good thing. So I'm a big Jets fan, but instead of watching the Jets get destroyed by the Pats probably 40-6, I get to watch a game that's very competitive and very important. The AFC West, very briefly on this, is just as good as it's been, I know, since you've been in the league, because the Raiders are legit, and even though the San Diego's got a losing record, they're a pretty good team. I mean, just how would you sum up this division, aside from the fact that it's incredibly competitive? Does it surprise you even how good it is, or no?
No. I mean, every year you can see teams they're really stacking up and gunning for us, and you can see every year they've gotten better, they've improved, and And that just makes it hard, man. That's what makes it competitive, and you kind of love it. You kind of when you win it, we've won it 5 years in a row, so you know teams are going to definitely gun for us, and that's what we like, though. I love how Jack has boosted the Raiders, and how the Chiefs have really stepped up their game. The Chargers, they've been good for a while, so
Yeah.
those teams, I think those two teams really caught up to us, and that's what's really making the AFC West pretty fun.
Hey, Chris, by the way, you're a Kansas Jayhawk, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. When are you going to tell the athletic department to fork over some of that basketball money, man? I mean, get you guys. How is Kansas? I'm serious about this. Every week we see a score, and it's like Kansas loses by 90. How does Kansas get competitive?
Right now we kind of had the death penalty with Charlie Weiss, and he had kicked a bunch of guys off the team, so we lost tons of scholarships. So right now we still don't even get the full amount of scholarships yet. So I think we won't get that until next year. So it's kind of like we went through the death penalty, and so it's going to take a couple of years for us to build it back up.
I hear you, man. Chris Harris, get ready for the stretch run, the world champion Broncos, and he's one of their good defensive backs. Good chat, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Stay healthy, okay?
Oh, yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Be good, Chris.